You can't have a zero risk strategy also. So it's very important how you balance it out, how nimble you are, how agile you are, how adaptable you are, and that's what I've seen. And if you look at some of the industry data also, they all talk about the women borrowers are, they have a better credit profile versus the male borrowers. Invest my time in building more leaders, ensuring that the people in my team have a good work-life balance.
Hi, I'm Yamini Bhat. Welcome to the FinAI podcast. FinAI is our brand new podcast series that explores the intersection of Gen AI and financial services. In this series, you'll meet a set of guests who are CXOs of market leading financial institutions around the world. They'll be talking about their experiments with AI and what's worked and what's not worked. In addition to that, here is the fun part. They will be sharing with you AI wishlist tools that they're willing to put their money behind.
Hi everyone, this is Yamini at the FinAI podcast, and today we have with us Shalinee Mimani, the Chief Risk Officer at Godrej Capital. Hello, Shalinee. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Yamini, and thank you for having me here today. Thank you so much.
Shalinee, you spent 25 years in financial services as a sector, right? Could you walk us through, for the audience, could you walk us through your career across different roles and institutions and how that has shaped you?
Sure. So, Yamini, once I completed my education, which is, I'm a chartered accountant, and straight after completing this, I got an opportunity to work with Bank of America. So, in those days, working with foreign banks was supposed to be considered something really great, and I did get an opportunity straight from the campus. And I started my career as a credit manager, right? Sanctioning each and every case, looking
Mhm.
into preparing credit approval memorandums, and everything was manual in those days, right? Not like
Yeah,
today's,
not like today. Yeah.
where, CAM also gets generated. There you actually had to prepare, write, and then sign. So I started with that. It was a small team, a 2 or 3 member team, and then the organization grew. We opened more geographies. More geographies came out. So I started from Calcutta, and then we started working in the entire eastern region. So more and more geographies came into my portfolio. So started as a credit manager, went on to become a regional credit manager. Then I moved to Mumbai and I got an opportunity to work with an organization which was wanting to launch retail assets. And I
Hmm.
took it as a great opportunity because I was only doing credit. Here I could get opportunity to roll out products, so I have an understanding of the entire risk management, not only credit underwriting. Post that, I wanted to get some kind of a flavor of, scale, and what better than HDFC Bank could provide, understanding how businesses at scale work and what are the kind of things to be really careful about when you are dealing with multiple geographies, right? So I worked with HDFC Bank for some time, and where I learned a lot. And I think a lot of learning has happened over there, the kind of people I worked with and the kind of portfolio I was managing, and the geographies. And then over a period of time, whenever any opportunity came, whether it is Barclays, whether it is Edelweiss or Godrej Capital, I kept on getting new things. New things kept on getting added, whether it's a new business, whether it is a new bank or a new NBFC coming into the play. So whenever these opportunities came in, and I think I decided to venture and try my hand at. And today I'm very proud to say that at Godrej Capital, when we joined, it was just handful of us, the senior management team. We launched housing finance, as I told you, and then now we've got two entities over here, housing finance as well as an NBFC. We've got most of the retail asset products. They are live. We are now launching affordable housing also under Godrej Housing Finance, and over and above that, I'm driving Aarohi. So my journey has been so far all in risk management. Something which is unique, which I'm driving over here, is Aarohi. I'm really looking forward to it, making some impact on the society and in the community. So that's where I am.
Wonderful. Actually, while you say that it's 25 years in risk management, I think it's very rare to find someone leading risk, but with coming from the roots of actually being customer facing, which is
Yeah,
wanting to make sure that that loan gets approved,
right,
fighting for the customer, advocating for the customer, and then also being in situations where, scaling was extremely important. So
right.
truly understanding the need and value for growth, right? And then taking on the risk lens because then you are doing so now I understand where your quote comes from on that risk as a
Yeah,
enabler of growth because that's what ultimately matters
right,
for organizations,
right.
not just a control function, right? So, Shalini, let's kick this off. It's usually rare to see a woman leader in this space, given women leaders at financial institutions itself is a smaller proportion. First of all, it's great, therefore, that we have you here. Would love to hear your perspective on across 25 years, how the definition of risk has changed or expanded.
Sure. Excellent question, Yamini. So now when you talk about risk, the first thing which comes to your mind is, the credit risk, right? What kind of portfolio you're building, what kind of delinquencies you have in your portfolio. But I think over the last decade or so, the definition of risk has really changed. Risk is not only about risk in your portfolio, risk is everywhere, right? Whether it is technology related, cybersecurity risk, risk with respect to data protection, privacy, reputation, governance, regulatory. So there are a whole lot of risks, and which constitute a significant part of risk of an organization. And I would say that over the last decade or so, a lot has changed. And as you know, that change is the only constant which you have right now. And so have the risk management framework and the strategies. So they have evolved and they are still evolving. And the newest risk which is coming, which is over and above the cyber risk which I just spoke about, is the climate risk, which is the latest risk in the BFSI space, so to say. While it is there in the manufacturing industry, but it is the newest risk, and the RBI governor also spoke about it. And I think a lot needs to be done. First of all, clarity as to how BFSI can work on mitigating the climate risk which is getting posed with the recent changes, in the climate, which we all can see.
What are the top two or three areas you would say are highly under invested or less understood today? Climate clearly seems to be one of them, right? But need a disproportionate amount of mind share right now to be able to get ahead of. Like, how would you prioritize the top three?
So I think cyber security risk is definitely top one, and you keep on hearing of so many instances where the applications are getting hacked, right? The recent one, I'm not naming it, but it just happened a couple of days back. So that is a real risk, and the real risk is frauds in this area, right? How do we ensure that there is no leakage of customer information? The fraudsters do not hack your systems, because the impact and the risk, even the monetary as well as the reputation, is huge. So this is something which we are still learning, because the way these applications are getting hacked, these are not like standard ways of doing it, right? While all of us are preparing ourselves that it doesn't happen in future, but yes, the fraudsters are smarter than all of us. So that's something which is, I think, a lot has been done. We are putting a lot of governance controls in their IT system, and digital is the era, right? Today everything is on digital platform, and the more and more we move into digitizing all the processes and the way we offer our products, solutions, the more and more the risks also emerge. And these are all very different and unique kind of emerging risks. So I wouldn't say that there is no understanding, there is understanding, but again, this is evolving because the type of risks are all, different new kinds of risks
Changing.
are
Yeah.
arising.
Yeah, and definitely Gen AI evolution is something that can steer this at a very exponential pace also, right? The ability to target, attack, or pass through some of the previous security systems is also evolving at as fast a pace as our ability to use AI. Yeah. So, help me. So you worked with multiple marquee financial institutions, Shalinee, like Barclays, Fullerton, Edelweiss, Godrej. How have you would have seen various different, starting points on how people consider risk. These institutions consider risk. It might correlate with how they think of their customer profile, right? Like, what are the different ways in which you've seen different institutions approach risk?
So I think risk is a very, very important part of any kind of a lending strategy, right? I'm into the BFSI space, and wherever I worked, it's all about lending. When it comes to banks, it comes to you're also accepting deposits. But when you go to NBFCs, largely they are not the deposit accepting institutions, and where lending is the main area of the business, right? So, when you launch any product, or when you launch, or when you set up any kind of an NBFC, or any branch for it, for so to say, the first thing is you need to understand what your target customer segment is. So that is something which has stood with every institution wherever I have worked, and any successful institution also. You call it HDFC Bank, you call it Bajaj, you name any other institution. The first and the foremost thing which is considered is the customer. Who's your target segment? A very well defined definition is very, very important. And then you make your policies and the products and the processes around the customer segment, and then you design the processes, ensure that you are able to customize the offerings, so that the end objective is to get more customers, to acquire more customers in a balanced way. So wherever I have worked, and in fact all successful organization, it's very important to strike the right balance between business and risk. You can't do business without thinking of risk, right? And you can't have a zero risk strategy also. So it's very important how you balance it out, how nimble you are, how agile you are, how adaptable you are. And that's what I've seen large players like HDFC Bank, the way they make decisions, right, closer to the market, closer to the customer segment, and how quickly you are able to respond. I think that's where you get the edge. And that's where all leading institutions have been able to be very successful, have the right balance between risk and business, and then you can't go wrong. Of course, there will be 1 in 12 or 1 in 20 kind of scenarios. There will be unknown things which can come. For example, COVID was something which nobody had expected. So if you just keep those kind of unknowns aside, then I think it's very clear. If you have the right customer acquisition strategy with sound risk practices embedded in it, that's where you become successful. And that's what I've learned everywhere. And that's what, when I joined Godrej, that was the first thing which I said over here, this is what we need to drive. And today I'm happy to say that we are building an organization where risk culture is always kept at the top. So it's not something which only the risk department in the organization talks about. Everybody in the organization talks about risk, because risk can be anywhere, right? So I think that's something which has remained common with any successful organization, the agility with which we adapt ourselves to the environment in which we are working, be cognizant, and when we take calculated risk. And whether, again, the newest is of course AI, which you just spoke about. Everybody is trying to do something or the other, and it's a very, very widely used word these days in every organization. But yes, it's all about responsible lending, and I think that can never go away, no matter how digital you are or how AI driven organization you are. So I think responsible lending is something which has which has come with me in most of the organizations where I worked.
So Shalini, walk us, this makes absolute sense, right? That you start with the customer and having a clear definition of, your target customer and what needs you are solving defines the rest of the strategy, right? Godrej is a much more recent entrant to the whole lending space, which already was and is pretty competitive, right? So Godrej also started in around 2020, around the COVID time, right? So I guess there is the huge risk on day zero that you practically inherited, but also the huge advantage that the younger the company now, the more advantage you can take of whatever is latest on digital, right? So how was the ecosystem when Godrej was starting, and how did that shape how Godrej was built, and then how did that define the risk framework?
So, as you rightly said, Yamini, we were born during COVID times, right? The entire portfolio which we built, all our hiring, everything was during COVID, right? We were hiring people through, online interviews, and that's how all this started, right? Online interviews, online onboarding. So, using technology was not a good to, adapt for us, right? It was the need. We could only offer our products through technology, so that was given. We had to adopt our technology in whatever business we were doing. So we started with the best in class technology, our products. Again, we also started with the product called home loans, right? Which most of the organizations were not offering this particular product digitally, right? You can do digital products in terms of secure, small ticket, and all. For us, the challenge was offering a 1 crore kind of a home loan through digitally, right? Through digital journeys. So that was something which we took upon us, the entire management team at Godrej. We looked at various systems. Then we designed our journeys in such a manner that we require minimal, human touch with the customers. So all our processes were designed in such a manner. So what we did was, let's start with a particular segment where the chances of success are very high. So we started with, salaried home loans, right? That's how we started. We built a journey. So our focus was to be able to offer a home loan with minimal friction with respect to, interaction with the customers in a physical manner, and be able to get all the documentation digitally. Credit appraisal is very important. So once you get the digital documents, then the entire underwriting can happen on system. That required building various APIs, tying up with various partners who offer these solutions of analyzing bank statements. Of course, a bureau is always online, so that was already there. So we fixed various APIs with various partners, so that we are able to come out with sanction letters digitally. Once sanction letters are generated digitally, the next was, how do you get the legal documentation digital, right? So we also went into digital signature of the agreements, which was also one of the first in the industry. Especially, I'm talking about this particular product, right? You do have it for unsecured loans,
Yeah.
but not many organizations were doing it digitally. So we took that risk, and I think we were able to provide best in class turnaround time to our customers. We're very happy. We got very good feedback from the customers. We had some very beautiful products also, which were accepted. As you would have heard about Design Your EMI. That is one product which was really accepted by the market. And we were able to get customer delight. So customer delight was very important for us, right? Especially, as you said, because we were a late entrant, and again, during COVID times, so it was very important to come out with something unique. We did not want to go into an area of taking high risk. Many organizations do that, that you compromise on your credit checks and you acquire business. That's what something which we did not want to do. So we decided which is the right segment where we can offer digitized journeys without compromising on risk. We can give customer delight also. So we worked on lots of products, and I think design your EMI is something which really got appreciation by a lot of people. This was the beginning, and then the other products also then, because we got success in home loans, all other products, be it loan against property, SME loans, unsecured business loans, we have a business lab product, all our products now, and now we are launching affordable housing also. So we are using digital technology as much as possible. However, we also understand that there are certain sections where you need to have some kind of human intelligence also, added to it. And so again, as I said, very important, understand the product segment, understand the target customer, where you can do, what digital practices you can do. And I think that has really helped us in rolling out various products.
Yeah, so that's a phenomenal. I think I can even imagine, like, I can't, a company being born at the time of COVID would naturally build every process and not just the customer acquisition, onboarding, and success, but even, like you said, your own talent recruitment, your own talent productivity or functional governances, etc., would have been digital, right? Are there things that you think you did better during COVID times than you do now?
Okay, if you ask, our employees over here, over there, it was 100% was work from home, right? Everybody was
Mm.
working from home. Today we are
Those were good
calling
times.
people, right? So those were in certain areas, it was good. The productivity went up, right? But there was a lot of stress also, as you would have heard, right? So we did it beautifully. We worked, and I won't say any function, any process or any offering was compromised just because we were working from home. But of course, there are certain functions which we feel post COVID where we started coming to office. So I think it was a gradual shift which we did. Certain functions we still continue, wherever it is required, we give that flexibility. But there are certain areas where it's important to have that kind of face-to-face conversations, having your meetings and closing out things immediately. That's something which was not happening during COVID times, has now started happening. But some good thing which happened in COVID, which was the digital journeys and all, which were all built. Had COVID not been there, I don't think anybody would have moved so fast.
So fast on that, as that's the only way to build
Yes,
and grow at that
nobody
point, right?
questioned, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest discussion which happens in an organization, okay, technology, how much investment, what is the cost benefit,
Yeah.
right? You
But this
have
is the only path now.
yes, this is the only path now. So COVID
Yeah.
may there were no questions because that was the way of
Yeah.
doing business,
Yeah.
and I
I can
think
easily imagine that there is a lot less throwaway work, lot less wastage on that front for you because you had to design digital first and then only go non-digital where you absolutely needed to go non-digital rather than the other way where organizations from before that era would first get to the market and then figure out how to digitize it. Right. So yeah, I'm reading one of your quotes, right, that about how risk is not just a control function, but also can be a growth enabler and should be seen as such, right? Tell us more about this, Shalini. Anything you can share in the context of, say, Godrej journey, for example, where actually thinking water is the right way enabled growth.
right. So there are a couple of examples, Yamini. So, when we were thinking about the various products which we should be doing, we started with housing loan, then we went on offering one new product almost every year since the time we have been operational. Loan against property, udyog loans, business loans. So every time I think a common, as I said, the first thing we think about is the customer, which is the target segment which we want to, really go forward. So, for example, now we are working on affordable. So, again, as I said, risk and customer segment. We start all our discussions with that. So, it is not that once you have launched the product, then you think about risk. So risk plays a very important role in the entire strategy. What we do over here is we look at the PNL, we look at what are our growth numbers, how do we define what are our metrics which tell us that we are successful, or what are the metrics of being successful, right? Revenue definitely is there, and bottom line is equally important. So for that bottom line, you have to look at various costs which play a very important role in a P&L along with the cost of risk. So very important, how are you pricing and what kind of risk you are taking. So they go hand in hand, right? In any kind of a product launch, in any kind of a discussion which we have. So risk takes a lead, and it's not a reactive thing that, okay, now you've got delinquent customers, now how do you
Now,
collect?
do you
Not
solve
that.
for that?
It's built in. We build, for example, when we know that we are entering into a high risk segment called unsecured business loans, we ramped up our collections team from day one. We knew that this is going back. So it should not be reactive, it should be proactive. And that's what our philosophy is there in risk management. Again, another initiative which we are driving is, I don't know whether you've heard about it or not. Aarohi is a concept, which we have just launched about 6 months back. So what happens, as every organization talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? So when it comes to diversity, the first thing comes to your mind is, okay, how many women are there in your workforce, right? You define diversity with that. What is the gender ratio? So what happened when I was having a discussion with our CEO Manish? So we said, why we only talk about diversity in our workforce? Why can't we talk about diversity in our portfolio,
Yeah.
right?
Your
Uh,
borrower portfolio.
how
Yeah.
many women borrowers do we have? So, if I look at some of the data, uh, it's not more than 10 to 15% of our, overall portfolio where you find their actual women borrowers. And if you look at some of the industry data also, whether it is TransUnion data, they all talk about the women borrowers are uh, they have a better credit profile versus the male borrowers. I know the penetration is low, but within that penetration also, the credit history, the credit behavior is superior. So the discussion which
In
we
fact, entire microfinance segment is just
absolutely.
pinned on that
Yeah.
model. Yeah.
Yeah, and they are excellent borrowers, their performance is excellent. So here is where the risk is actually driving a new kind of a product innovation. So we took it for ourselves that let's come out with some products for women. Okay, so Aarohi is a movement kind of a thing. It's a platform where we do everything with respect to women, right? Whether it is hiring, so improving diversity in our workforce, whether coming out with products, offerings for women to promote more and more women borrowers in our portfolio, work on, building partnerships with women channel partners. Our entire business is through DSAs, right?
Yeah.
They source business for us because for
And
an
that's largely a non-female audience, right? The DSA
largely
network.
a non-female. So we looked into that. It's like hardly 4 to 5% you will find is the female partners over there. So we said let's have more of them. So that is another area which we are really
Interesting.
focusing on, get more women partners on board. And of course, the lastly is the workforce, right? So along with workforce, we are working on customers. We are working on building women-centric community also. So that comes to a CSR perspective, right? You put in more money or you promote, development of this community wherever you have. So you divert your funds, whatever you get from your from your company. Once you start making profits, right, you have to put in some money into CSR. So for these projects also, we are also looking at these communities which we can partner with, grow them. So these are the four pillars. From risk perspective also, I would say risk is taking the lead over here because this is less risky segment, and if you can do something more, why not? And today you see lots of schemes which government is also coming out for developing women SMEs. So we are kind of taking this initiative, partnering with government. We are having discussions with them how we can improve offerings to help women entrepreneurs to not only come into the entrepreneurship, as their top, as a profession, but also grow. So there are lots of. So we also did a lot of, research to understand why do we have less women, borrowers, and this starts with less number of women entrepreneurs. So today, if you look at how many in the entire 63 crores of SME borrowers or SME segment which we have in India, it'll be about only 15 to 20% would be women owned companies. So when I say women owned companies, out of that would be about maybe 10 to
Probably just the name, just
11%.
a name,
Exactly.
nominal title.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
real women would be much lower than that also.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think there is, and now you see this numbers have been increasing over the last decade or so. We are seeing, if you look at the data which is coming out from various sources, the numbers are increasing. More and more women entrepreneurs are coming, and I think this is the segment which we are trying to grow through Aarohi at Godrej. So.
This is fantastic, Shalini. Could you walk us through, for example, what would products targeting women borrowers, designed for women borrowers, look like? Like, in what aspects would they be different from the standard products?
Right. So if I talk about, in the BFSI space, the traditional way of underwriting has been that you need to have a co-applicant. Wherever there is a woman borrower, you need to have a co-applicant, right? So we are moving away from that. So we are offering a product wherein if you are the only, promoter, if you are the person whom you are, you are the entrepreneur, the business belongs to you, why do we need a co-applicant? There is no need, right? So we offer that. There is no need for a co-applicant as long as business is being run by you, right? We are offering different kinds of insurance to, we are offering that. We have tied up with a lot of insurance companies which can help you, take a good cover. It could be anything, right? Health, it could be, accident, women related requirements can be there. So we do offer lots of insurance, products which we have. The other thing is, of course, the easiest thing was to give a loan at a low rate of interest, but we did not want to go down that path. I think we realized that, if you are able to service, if you're able to give the loan faster, nobody will be very, people won't be saying that just because I am a woman, I
Yeah.
need a lower interest rate. Lower
Yeah,
interest
just because you're
rate.
a woman doesn't mean that you can run at less
Yes,
margins or run a
yes,
less efficient company, etc. So anyway, that's
absolutely.
like the outcome metrics are the same. So I think the cost
Yeah.
metrics could be similar, but ease of business and trust.
Ease of
Yeah,
business, trust, without asking the right questions, right?
yeah.
You don't have to just ask a question because very interesting thing which I thought I would just share with you. Very recently, we had a kind of we had asked some women entrepreneurs, and we had a small kind of meeting where we invited some of the women entrepreneurs, we invited some of our women customers, some channel partners. We had a small gathering, and it really went off very well because we all spoke about what kind of issues, concerns which we really face whenever any woman entrepreneur wants to do her own business. So many of them are not even aware of the fact that finance is available, right?
Hmm.
Capital. So what do normally they do is they look up to somebody, some male member in their family for some kind of a funding. So they have to ask for that funding,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then they set up their own businesses, and they're not aware that funding is available. There is no harm in reaching out to lenders like us for funding. It is not a taboo, and women have been very careful with finances, right? They are. I think they've mastered the art of savings from day one, and they don't. They feel asking for money is something which is not good. Right? So now I think more and more women are understanding the need of borrowing. It is better financial planning, right? You can, the interest which you pay on a loan, you can show it as a expense, and the art of P&L management is something which that awareness was not there and it is now gradually coming in. Most of the women they feel that venture capital that is the only way of funding, but may not be. So it all depends upon what kind of business you are doing, at what stage you are in, and there are people, there are lenders who are not necessarily lending at very high rates of interest, and there are various other services which are also provided. So I think that awareness is coming in, and the awareness of the fact that it's important to have a good credit score, right? Which you can only have when you start borrowing with a good repayment track.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so
It's a
building a good
virtuous
credit
cycle.
score,
Yeah.
so building a good credit score, and also the fact that borrow only the amount of money which you need, right? I think that is also very much, I would say, it comes with a woman borrower. They will never try to borrow something beyond their uh, nahi, that's what they say, ki, try to borrow only the amount of money you need, and gradually you improve your borrowings the way your business grows. So that's something which came out in all our discussions, and I was very happy to see that people are now aware that financing is a good way of managing your business. And if you keep your business clean, if you keep your funding tight and maintain a good credit score, uh, I think nobody will ask you questions which are very different from the kind of questions which are asked to a male entrepreneur.
Yeah. So this is very interesting, Shalini. Thanks for sharing. Uh, Switching tracks, right? But on the same front, what does it take to build a women DSA network in lending? In insurance, I think women as insurance agents is far more common, right? But I think the ratio in DSAs is very, very low. So is it folks who are completely new to the business, or is it a career switch for some of these women who are now becoming DSAs for you?
It's a mix of both, right? There is a career switch also, and there are less number of people there in this segment. So again, it's all about creating awareness, celebrating successful women in this segment, right? So far, I mean, it was always there. There are only male DSAs, those top 10 or 20 which are there in every organization. But now, as what we are trying to do is we are trying to promote them. We are coming out with good payouts for them. We are trying to tell them that, if you partner with us, these are the benefits which you can get. So I think it's all about making them aware that this is also an industry, this is also an area where women can definitely play a very important role. And when you have more and more women DSAs, it becomes slightly easier to acquire more women customers because they understand the needs. And so I think that's something which is working out. So we are trying to create women in DSAs. We are trying to create more women in our workforce, especially in collections. Also, why we women in sales was something which was unheard of earlier, right? We are doing pretty well as far as women in sales is concerned. We have a good cohort who we have hired in sales. Now we are promoting in collections. We already have women in tech, quite a few. We have a very good gender ratio as far as technology is concerned. HR, of course, always led a very, very good diversity ratio. So I think we are promoting wherever possible, and we are seeing that the output matrix are also pretty good.
Yeah, I remember 6, 7 years ago, we did for one of the Women's Day initiatives. We had looked at all our customer uh, uh, data, disguised data, and the customers of our customers, right? Our customers are financial institutions, so their customers, like lead prospects, etc., and the salespeople profiles by gender, and tried to look at if any of the outcomes were different. And we noticed that women in sales were doing 16% better on activity levels and outcomes on conversions, etc. And the surprising thing was on prospects itself, women borrowers in most cases, right? In the lending prospect pipeline. I think the women lead conversion for women borrowers was nearly 4 to 5 times higher So rarely do they enter the funnel, but when they do, it's with intent, right? But probably to convert them, you also need women in sales, right? So it was a very nice virtuous cycle, but the numbers in both the borrower pipeline and in the sales pipeline were very, very few. And it's truly a opportunity with a lot of unlock potential still for anyone playing in this space.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it
And
requires a
then,
constant push and a constant focus
yeah,
to
yeah,
get these numbers up.
yeah. Wonderful, Shalini. Thank you so much for sharing sharing about Aarohi with us. I think our next section is a little bit of a rapid fire kind of a section, right? So would love to whatever comes top of mind, would love for that to be the answer, and we'll just go quickly through five, six questions. So first one, what is the most exciting AI project at Godrej Capital right now for you?
Quick sanction or quick loan to a customer. So various processes which are involved into it, how we can use AI. That is something which we are working on. So while we are working on select processes, but end to end something which is we are trying to figure out how well we can use AI, because we understand uh, only AI driving a final money to your bank may be a
Hmm.
little tricky, but
Hmm.
how we can reduce the turnaround time faster by at least giving the best turnaround time to a best customer through AI.
Got it. So this is existing customers where you
Exist.
have a lot more
Not only
understanding.
existing customers, even the new
Even up
customers
new.
also.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. So quick, like quick food delivery, quick cabs, quick commerce, and quick loans. Interesting. Your most personal favorite AI tool?
Chat GPT is something which everybody is talking about, but I think we are working on. It cannot be just AI, right? It's a mix of because analytics also is something which we work on. How we can use ML, AI put together to be able to optimize, our strategic decisions is something which is really, something which we are working on again. Uh, how we can use these to come out with, because strategy is something which is, how you can automate it or how you can focus on the right thing to do, because in a risk in a BFSI space, in a risk management, it's very important to make the right decision, right strategy decision, right allocation of capital. How do you do this? All through using these AI tools, various algorithms. That's something which is uh,
Interesting.
yeah,
So capital allocation.
yes, yes.
Wonderful. What's a book you've recently loved, would like to recommend?
Thinking fast and slow.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Now, this book, uh, it has left impression on me. Daniel Kahneman's book is because it talks about how you navigate during uncertain times,
Hmm.
right? And we all know what's happening today, right?
Yeah, times are becoming more and more uncertain.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes.
I don't know if it feels like that to anyone who gets to this stage in life, or if every person who's mid-career feels like that, but in general, it feels like times are getting more and more uncertain, right? If AI tools and everything that's handy can save you 30% of your time, personal time, right? What would you do with that 30% of time? That's the last question.
I think invest my time in building more leaders, ensuring that the people in my team, have a good work-life balance. Invest some time in their health. Invest some time in, in their hobbies, right? So I think this is something which I would encourage everybody. All the routine, mundane activities should be given to AI, and you should only focus on strategic related, work. So these are all, things which can be automated. You should do that, and you should cull out this time from what you are currently doing, invest in yourself. I think it goes along.
Thank you so much, Shalini, for your time. It was lovely having you on the podcast.
Same here. Thank you so much, Yamini. I had a lovely time talking to you.